A very good afternoon to all those connected with us, individually through online mode, and definitely to those with whom this video would be traveling later, right? I always feel it's indeed a privilege and honor to connect with the most elite and I would say the intellectual part of our, society, who are better known as teachers, faculty, right? आप लोग ज्ञान देने वाले हैं एंड डेफिनेटली उससे बड़ा मुझे लगता है कोई कंट्रीब्यूशन कोई बड़ा योगदान हो ही नहीं सकता है. But then definitely there is always a concern that yes, we want to transmit knowledge, we want to develop, individuals, or we want to kind of inspire our students, but then that's one of the most difficult tasks, right? In spite of we being the most knowledgeable, being the most well versed and absolutely experienced and seasoned people in our domain, still maybe we feel there's a disconnect, or maybe yes, we are not able to kind of inspire our students to learn, to yes, be more self driven towards their own kind of development. And that is the topic, that is the agenda with which we would be now taking this webinar on. Of course, Aman ma'am told me that it's a smaller group and maybe interaction would be a kind of a concern, but then I always believe if it's a smaller group, then we have more scope to kind of talk, and that too primarily on one-to-one basis. So before I move on, further with the discussion and the information that I had to share from my end, I wanted to really know that what medium of language you'll be comfortable with. Hindi, English, or anybody who has primarily. I think there these days there's more a concern that some of us do not kind of connect with Hindi, right? So is there anybody, the medium of language that you would be comfortable with? Jitendra ma'am, Ankan Garg sir, I can just see these two names only, in fact, right now. Yes,
I'm comfortable
Ankan.
with Hindi and English both.
Oh, great. Wonderful, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. And, that's very encouraging that, when your audience speak up, especially during an online session, because otherwise it seems that as if you're just interacting with the screen only. And, who would know it better than you as teachers there, where especially during the COVID times, we were just restricted or limited to these online sessions only. And बहुत बार हमें ऐसा लगता था कि शायद सिर्फ हम ही हैं जो, बात कर रहे हैं या अपनी इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर कर पा रहे हैं, राइट? दूसरी तरफ से कोई रिस्पॉन्स ही नहीं आता था. So yes, I think as to take up the discussion further, I would like to share my presentation also, and then simultaneously, yes, I would look up to, yes, at least some discussion happening, right, from yes, the as many of us are together. uh, okay, what happened to this one? In fact, yes, it's here only. So, okay, Ankan sir, is my PPT visible to you? No, it's not. Sorry, sorry. I'll have to share it again. Yes, Ankan sir, now you would like to give me a feedback. Is my PPT visible to you? Sir, if you could unmute yourself, because when I open the screen, the main screen of the slides, then I'm not able to, view my participants there.
Visible, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, sir. So now, first and foremost, I would really like to know that, yes, in whatever capacity we are, whether we are a lecturer or we are an assistant professor or a professor, right? We all know that, yes, we are teachers, right? And that's our prime objective. That's our prime role that we have taken up, right? So now a teacher is a very vast terminology, and that has to be specifically, kind of we have to be more specific about the roles, this of a teacher, and which kind of go more in alignment with the present scenario, with the present situation, where we really need to look into this aspect, that how much are the students willing to learn, how much they are willing to come to their offline classes, right? Because now definitely the students have found this easier way, where sitting in their homes or even in their comfort zone of being in the bed, they think yes, it is kind of okay to take up classes. So there the role of a teacher has really transformed, has really diversified, I would say. So let's look into these four different roles that I've specified here. So what do we think in the present scenario is primarily the more, well diversified or well dimensioned role of a teacher? Is it being a facilitator? Is it being an instructor, entertainer, or a motivator? Which role best suffices the role of a teacher in the present scenario? Being a facilitator, instructor, entertainer, or a motivator? I will come back to the main screen now, because yes, so then only I'll be able to connect better with you. So yes, which role do we think goes, most appropriately with the present circumstances, or when we look into the present situation of a teacher and the students, the kind of association that they share, where you need to be an inspirer, or you need to be an entertainer, or a facilitator, or an instructor? Any one of you?
Ma'am, can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, Ankan sir, I was asking, as per which was mentioned in the slide also, that now in the present scenario, we cannot just say that, okay, when we say teacher, then teacher means much more. There is so much added kind of responsibility. There are so much added skills and special, expertise that we look in from a teacher. And then there are these different added on roles, which kind of now go hand in hand with being a teacher. We can call them as instructors, we can call them as facilitators, we can call them as entertainers, and then there is another, which is, yes, being in the role of an inspirer. So an entertainer, an inspirer, a facilitator, or a instructor, which role do we think best kind of depicts a teacher of today? Rohit sir, would you like to say something? I think your hand is raised there.
Facilitator. Facilitator.
Facilitate. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rohit sir. How about you, Ankan sir? I think now my question is clear to you.
Yes, ma'am, it is clear to me.
Oh, Haji.
From
Ji,
my side, excuse me.
ji, Nini. Absolutely fine, sir.
From my side, I feel it must be inspirer, ma'am.
Okay, okay, great. Wonderful. Even what Rohit sir says is also valid, and Ankan sir, what you also said has a lot of significance. Jatinda ma'am, if you could also unmute yourself and share your response with us. Which role do you think best suffices the role of a teacher in a present scenario, whether they have to be an instructor, a facilitator, an entertainer, or or an inspirer? Yeah, Jatinda ma'am, am I audible to you? Oh, well, okay, no worries. Okay, Ankan sir and Rohit sir, you came up with your responses. So, Ankan sir, when Rohit sir says that a teacher needs to be a facilitator as well, do you think that an inspirer also has to do it? To inspire somebody, do we need to facilitate them as well?
Yes, ma'am. We also facilitate them with, first of all,
Ji,
it's a debatable thing. We need to know what the facilitate means. Then we
ji,
can talk.
ji. Huh, true. Yeah, facilitating is where you're trying to be, trying to extend that extra support, right? And Rohit sir, when you said that a teacher needs to be a facilitator and not maybe an instructor, or maybe this is, something different from being an instructor. So would you like to elaborate? What is your thought process in it?
Like facilitator in a sense that
Ji, sir.
mm, now the knowledge is available, it is in abundance.
Yes, sir.
The teacher can give directions.
True,
the
sir.
the student can take beyond. Now the study is beyond books, online study is also available, the student is not dependent upon the teachers. So the
Definitely.
teacher as a facilitator has to direct the student, that
Right.
you can study, you can do add-on courses from NPTEL, MOOC or Coursera. These kind of things he can do. The teacher can become facilitator in this role, the
Right,
student
sir.
has to
Right.
do at its own.
True, true, very true, sir. I think yes, sir. That really, really kind of signifies the present scenario, the present situation, where you said that actually knowledge and information is available in abundance, right? So when it
Yes,
is
ma'am.
about, yes, taking those jotting down those procedures, or those knowing those rules to, following a certain process that has to be done, it is already available. But then where we go get stuck up, or where there is a confusion, there is a doubt, then definitely the role of a teacher becomes more important, more significant, as where, yes, a teacher can facilitate, can actually extend that support wherever there is a confusion, wherever there is a doubt, right? So
Yes, ma'am.
where we, G
I
sir,
want to add that, like, both in
G,
online as well as offline mode, blended
G,
learning, and the
G
teacher can
sir.
facilitate wherever his role play should be there,
True,
or it is
very
there.
true.
Yes,
Exactly,
ma'am.
sir. Exactly. I mean, yes, even in fact, very frankly, when COVID started, and it was very recent with these online sessions, and I got to know that there was a difference between webinars and live sessions. So, online live sessions, as I said, there was a difference between webinar and an online live session. Does any one of you have an idea? What is the difference between a webinar and an online live session? Of course, webinar is on the web only. That's again an online session. So, but then there was another terminology which came up, that it is an online live session. So, can we differentiate between the two? Okay, no worries, because this was new to me as well. In fact, most of the times webinars are something where it is, right now also this session is being recorded, and after the session is recorded, it will be made available to other number of participants who could not attend the session today. And then it is like they don't, as it is, have to decide upon a specific date, time, and a schedule. It will be whenever it is convenient to them, they can watch out for that recorded session, which is primarily a webinar. And now the way, yes, few of you are connected for this webinar, and then we are interacting, we're talking to each other, and I am also open to your doubts and queries. So it is an online live session happening, right? Webinar is, most of the times, it's a recorded session where, yes, you may or you may not have live audience with you. And similarly, it is like you are not kind of conversing, or you are not kind of clarifying the doubts. So it will be a recorded session, a one way communication, right? I would go on as a speaker, I would go on kind of speaking and sharing information from my end, without even having this understanding that whether my listeners or whether my participants could understand the content also or not, right? So as teachers, now what do we think when we do these online sessions? Which one will be a preferential mode, a webinar or an online live session? Yes, as teachers, will
Webinars,
we uh, Gigi
webinars,
sir,
webinars,
uh,
because
Gigi
it
sir.
can be recorded and can be delivered again also to the needy one who couldn't attend
Okay. Okay. Okay.
the
Yes,
live.
sir. So that there we can actually kind of reach out to more number of students, even those who could not connect or who did not have that facility. So that is definitely an advantage of a webinar. But then, yes, again, sir, that missing link, like a recorded session, we still cannot guarantee upon that. Yes, whatever was said and shared during a webinar will be clearly communicated, or will be uh, we'll be able to reach out to the students without, without any doubts, right? They still, after listening to the teacher also, they might have some doubts, they might need some more explanations, right? And which is only possible when it's a live interaction. Right now, like, I am maybe asking from you, or maybe I am seeking your input, and then you let me know ki, what is your thought process. So this is where we are developing a better understanding amongst each other, right? Which tends to miss out during a webinar. So I think what is more appreciative is that, yes, if we could, especially in an online session, definitely the best part is that we don't need to travel, we don't need to kind of invest more time and energy in reaching out to a certain place. It is from wherever, whichever, I mean, it's just that we need that good internet connectivity and a gadget to connect, right? And if we have this minimum facility, then definitely a live session is much more appreciative, where we can talk, we can share, we can ask, and we can even respond back, right? So now coming back to, the role of a teacher as an inspirer, facilitator, instructor, and an entertainer. I think for maybe decades together, right, we've always had the role of an instructor, majority of the times, and that was considered to be outdated, right? Or maybe, we realized that this was just part of it, where the teachers were just instructing that, okay, this is the chapter, these are the guidelines to it, and this is how you need to memorize it, and then you need to come and kind of, um, reproduce the same during the examination. So there were no discussions promoted, there were no interaction in happening, there was no clarifying of doubts, or no, feedback being taken from the students. So it was more of an instruction mode, right, where we were just kind of maybe, explaining to them that yes, these are the norms, these are the guidelines, and this is how, things should be, means this is what is the, the need of that specific chapter or specific problem that, the teachers are discussing. But then when this clarification of, doubts came into the process, where especially there was more in question and answering, then from just instructing something, it became the facilitation, right? Where we were willing to facilitate in case if there was a doubt, in case if something needs to be clarified. And definitely, Ankan sir, you said that a teacher has to be an inspirer. So, why do you feel, sir, that that is one of the, prime area of responsibility of a teacher? Why do they need to inspire when it is like as it is? It is primarily the student's responsibility, or it is the student who is more benefiting from a class, right? Whether through online or offline mode, it is the student who is kind of gaining more knowledge and, developing those skills. But then, why does a teacher still has to be an inspirer?
Man, yes, I
Yes,
do
sir.
agree that things are available online, offline,
Ji,
everywhere.
sir.
So,
Ji, sir.
somewhere it becomes our responsibility to give them direction and
Right, sir.
motivate them and
Right, sir.
ignite and spark in them. So, in that perspective, I said inspire.
Very true, sir. Guiding them, right? So, and guiding, in fact, I mean, this has been very, very clear, or we've been always familiar with the fact that students need to develop, they have, it is their need that they have to learn new things, they have to develop new skills, they have to gain new knowledge, right? And they are the prime beneficiaries from any classroom, whether it is online and offline. But then on the same, we know that yes, as it is, nobody is interested in learning, right? No, I mean, even, I mean, if we go back to our childhood years also, we always used to think that yes, going to school is like only because we are fulfilling the, the expectations of our parents, or maybe it is because yes, it is a strict norm which needs to be followed. Like in now, as we grow up, as we get mature, we understand that without this knowledge and information, we as it is cannot do anything in our lives, right? So learning and yes, kind of imbibing new knowledge and information is so much important to grow up and develop in life, right? But then definitely there has to be a lot of inspiration, a lot of yes, motivation, because learning is not an easy process, right? It requires more efforts, it requires more dedication and commitment. That's why being an inspirer is very important. I think that one clause is left, and that is being an entertainer. Now I think this is little out of the way and out of the box, right, I would say. And majority of the times maybe we might not have, kind of brought these two terms together, entertainer and teaching, right? So of course, primarily now Rohit sir and Ankan sir, you both are only there to, to interact with. So do you think that yes, entertainment or this special task of being an entertainer has to be included in the role of a teacher? Any views, or do you think it is absolutely absurd, or does not make any sense, does not have any correlation?
Yes, bit of
Ji
it,
sir.
but in different way.
Okay.
Different
What
term.
way, sir? Whatever is your, hanji, ji sir. Whatever you feel, Ankan sir, I mean, that's whatever you understand, that as a teacher we need to be entertainers also, but then what is that different way, different approach for a teacher to be being entertaining?
I think it should be
Ji sir.
interesting. Uh,
Huh.
I don't know what is the exact term, but
Right,
entertainer
sir.
is a very different term which just entertains and does not inform.
Right, sir. Okay.
Educate, sorry, does
Okay.
not educate.
Okay. Okay, so that's what you feel, that and being an entertainer, it means that yes, somebody is feeling good, somebody is maybe having a fun time, or at least a little an easygoing time. So maybe it does not deliver any specific piece of information, right? Okay, thank you so much, Ankan sir. Rohit sir, would you like to share your opinions, your point of view? Does entertainment and education go along? Do they have any connection, or you think no, 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 these are absolutely two different ideologies? Rohit sir, can I be heard to you?
Yes, madam.
हाँ जी सर जी। सर, आपको मेरा सवाल समझ आया? मैं ये पूछना चाह रही थी कि जो एक,
Yes,
हाँ जी, जी सर, जी।
yes, ma'am. Pardon, madam. Yes.
नहीं, मैं वही कह रही थी सर कि एक जो हमने 4 रोल्स डिफाइन किए थे फॉर टीचर, बीइंग एन इंस्पायरर, इंस्ट्रक्टर, फैसिलिटेटर, उसमें एक चौथा रोल भी था, बीइंग एन एंटरटेनर। आपको लगता है ये रोल कहीं फिट इन होता है, या इट्स एब्सोल्युटली obsolete or weird or something? Yeah.
No, madam. Entertainer, it is like very important. We can say it can reduce
जी,
the monotony or boredom when the teacher starts the lecture. Then after 20 minutes, a monotony or boredom kind of thing
true,
started because
true,
attention
true,
or concentration of student is not up to 5 to 6 minutes. Also, in
true,
our
true,
times, we were
true.
concentrating up to 20 to 30 minutes. Now distractions are there.
Yes, sir.
To remain
Right.
in streamline, we have to be entertaining sort of example, live examples, or be attentive.
Exactly.
We should, as well as
Exactly.
the student should be attentive also.
True, 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 sir. Very true. Very.
Right.
Thank you so much, Rohit, sir. I think you really, really well,
Thank you.
justified and well explained what when I had put this term entertainer there. So,
Right, madam.
yes, Ankan, sir. Yeah, thank you. I can really, understand your concern also, Ankan, sir. कि वो जो term है entertainer, वो हमने आज तक एक और different perspective से, एक different, ideology के साथ correlate किया था कि it is having fun time, it is having, little bit of casual time, in fact, right? And then how can we get it into a classroom where we are primarily focused upon that real learning, or some bigger objective to be achieved? But then I think all those points mentioned by Rohit sir justify it, that today the need is basically to keep our students focused where there are so many distractions, right? And in which actually our attention span has really got reduced, right? Now as it is, yes, when we know that maybe what the teacher is telling us, also all that information is already available on maybe my some chapter on YouTube, or some other Google link there, right? Then as it is, I would feel that okay, I'll go back home and in my own peace time I'll study. Why do I have to actually, yes, primarily when I can be there with my friends, I can talk, I can have that good time together, why do I need to pay attention there? In fact, the being the performing the role of a buddy, performing the role of somebody who is not just a teacher or a facilitator, but then that person is also somebody with whom you can actually open up, with whom you can actually share an informal association. Now this is something which is new to the concept of teaching, but then actually it has become very crucial, I would say, right? Where as a teacher we have to be more of a buddy, more of a kind of a, we have to share a friendly association with our students, where at least they should be able to smile in our classrooms, they should be able to openly express themselves, and especially when they feel that they have a concern, they should be openly able to share that concern, right? Now I think I'm able to make some sense to you too, Ankan sir. being an entertainer.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. In fact, very frankly, Ankan sir, there is a new terminology in education which is known as edutainment.
That
So,
comes
what are
better.
the edutainment? I'll write that word. There's a new terminology in education, and which is known as Sorry. Okay. I'll,
I feel entertainment is definitely better than entertainment.
yes, exactly, sir. So basically, we are trying to focus on edutainment only, sir, where we are trying to get entertainment into the field of education, not just entertainment, but it is, actually taking us or inspiring us to connect with the bigger objective, the bigger purpose, that is education, right? Where our classrooms are lively classrooms, where our classrooms are not monotonous, where actually a student feels the need to come to a classroom. अब आज वही बात है कि we have all these options of taking up classes online, as I said, from our own comfort zone, where we can be at home, where we can be at a coffee shop, we can be driving through, yes, which is as per our convenience. Whatever we think, yes, our other priorities, we can still take up classes, or we can still fulfill our degrees, and but then that real gap of that real learning would still exist. Whether that knowledge and information is going to benefit them in real lives or not, that is a big question. So for which definitely the students need to come to their real classrooms. Offline teaching is, as it is, very very essential. We've already kind of witnessed the damages which have happened due to the online classes. Can we hurriedly just share one or two points, the damages which have happened due to the online classes? Any one of you? Dr. Aruna is also here with us. So, ma'am, if you want and you could unmute yourself, we would like to seek your responses also. Have there certain damages happened due to online classes?
The first thing is the schedule, the discipline and the schedule. A scheduled life. A
Right,
student
sir.
wake up and come to school or goes to
Right,
office. This is a schedule
right.
which a student
True,
perform.
true,
But
sir.
the freedom or the convenience in which a person can study or do work at home breaks the
Right,
schedule.
sir.
This is one of the very big thing
So,
which broke out of this online learning.
true, sir. Very true. So basically, we have started lacking that discipline and that scheduled life, where there was a specific time to be practiced or to be followed, and we were more organized in our ways, right? So now, in fact, with this online mode of education, we've started missing upon that, right? Not just students, I would say, even as teachers, even you said that, sir. Like when we're not going to our colleges, when we're not going to our workplaces, we also start missing upon that organized way of living, right? And then everything becomes haywire or haphazard, and then I think we are more frustrated about it, right? Dr. Rohit, आप कोई share करना चाहेंगे damages of online classes? Yeah, Dr. Aruna, Jatinda ma'am, I don't know if you can hear me, or there's some disconnectivity. Yeah, Rohit sir, would you like to share something? Okay, no worries. I can, in fact, now this is also one of the serious concerns of online classes, right? Abhi, very frankly, as a facilitator, even I don't know how many of you are just connected with the class, or you're simultaneously doing something else, right? So, very frankly, there is too much of multitasking happening, right? Now multitasking, which is actually initially when there was a boom with the IT sector, and we developed this flexi timings, I think 2 decades ago, right? Everybody was very excited about it, because this was a new norm, a new kind of a culture that had come into the professional scenario, right? Especially flexi timings. And what happened was that, yes, with these flexi timings and work from home culture, which was, as it is, prevalent from before in the IT culture, this multitasking concept also came into the scenario. But then what was happening, that as an very, very serious adverse effect of multitasking. We were not able to give our 100% to any of the tasks that we were giving, that we were doing, right? Abhi bhi jaise, very frankly, for all those who are connected with us, in this online session also, I can bang upon that, yes, you all must be doing something extra simultaneously, राइट? अब उसी में वेरी फ्रैंकली जो भी अभी डिस्कशन हो रहा है, जो भी यस हमारा पर्पस है टू कनेक्ट विद दिस सेशन राइट नाउ, we might not be able to 100% fulfill or achieve that. And then what happens is, then there is a deep sense of lack of satisfaction, because very frankly, in spite of we doing many things, right, we feel that yes, I was still not able to 100% achieve my prime goal, my prime objective, or maybe I never realized also that yes, when the time passed by or the class got over also, and I was as it is not able to take any significant learnings from it. And this is what is happening with our students also. Very frankly, I run an NGO, and I have a lot of young people associated with me as my volunteers. And especially during the COVID times, when majority of all the learning education was happening through online classes, we were working, as an NGO, we were working in the COVID affected areas also. We were working in the containment zones also. And then what used to happen? In fact, that time I really kind of got more volunteers, because they hardly had anything else to do. There were no colleges happening, there were no offline classes happening, no schools. In fact, a lot of school kids also came along. But the best part is that whenever we used to be out, doing some relief activity or some other social development activity, there used to be a lot of sound, coming from the pockets of these young people. And then once, out of curiosity, I asked one of my volunteer that what is this sound coming from your pocket, are you listening to something, or some channel going on? And he said, ma'am, my online class is logged in. So I was really shocked, right, really astonished that what kind of class is this going on. So he said, ma'am, I'm logged in, but then of course I put my video off, I put my speakers on mute mode, right? But then still, okay, the class is there, and at least my attendance is being marked. So then I told him, but then this way, definitely whatever work you're doing here, you're creating kind of noise at that place also. Eventually he had put the video of the, not video, the audio also of the teacher off, right? So now what had happened was that only there was a login into the class to just mark the presence of that individual, that student, just to ensure that he or she does not run short of the attendance. And rest, apart from that, there was no learning happening, there was no connectivity only between the teacher and the student, right? So this became more chronic, this has become more chronic over the times, right? Where as it is, our children have become much more smarter. They really know how to, yes, apply those shortcuts, and actually not connect to the core purpose for which they have to attend classes, or they have to listen to their teachers, right? So there, all these four roles of being an instructor, facilitator, entertainer, and an inspirer become really, really all very crucial. So we have to actually adopt to all these roles, right? Now I'll be going back to my slide once again, just a second. And then as per definitely we realize that yes, all these roles have to be adopted by a teacher to make our classrooms more effective, or to help our students stay connected with whatever the discussion or whatever the information is being shared with them. Accordingly, we need to adopt to different styles of teaching, right? Where of course lecturing which has become really obsolete, right? But then of course it has to be a certain proportion of it, a certain amount of it, where we really, really want our students to listen to what we're telling them, specifically when it's some very important topic, when some very important information being shared. Then definitely we have to speak for some time on a continual basis, and then definitely we would look up to our students listening to it very with that patient listening ear. Next is demonstrating, where practically we demonstrate something in what we've done, which we do in our practical labs or even in our classrooms also, where it will be more of a practical or a visual demonstration of whatever the process or the key concept is being taught to the students. Then of course we have to kind of promote classroom discussions, so that it becomes a more lively environment, and it is not just limited to the teacher only. In fact, everybody in a classroom should be actively involved into it. They should not only be into the listening mode, but they should also be energized or activated into the thinking mode and simultaneously expressing themselves, right? Where we can do things like collaborating them, segregating them into different groups, giving them group tasks, and accordingly, yes, coming up with some more innovative or some more creative information. Then is debriefing. Debriefing is also another way of teaching. I don't know if you've heard about it or before or not, or if any one of you would like to elaborate the term debriefing. Have you heard the term debriefing? We just kind of talked about the different ways of teaching, where it was lecturing, right? Another was demonstrating, where we practically demonstrate what ever we are, or whatever theoretical aspect that we've talked about, there is a practical or a visual demonstration of it, right? Then we need to collaborate the efforts of our students, and simultaneously, yes, give them some group tasks where they can be more brainstorming, group discussions, right, classroom discussions. And then there was a concept of debriefing. Any one of you who could, yes, now elaborate, what do we understand by debriefing? I think it's going to be, yeah, Ankan sir.
In
Ji.
brief, we talk very short on a topic. We
Ji, sir.
explain our content in a very short manner. But in
Right, sir.
briefing appears to be opposite of that, opposite of brief,
Yes,
in
yes,
which
yes, sir.
we elaborate and explain in detail. I think so.
Exactly. Very true, sir. Very true. Wonderful. So basically, this debriefing has to be done by whom? By the teacher or by the students?
First, we ask from student. After then, we do it.
Okay. Okay. Yes, majority of the time, sir, it is like we just give them a topic or an agenda to our students, right? That this is the concept, and then we tell them to elaborate it, right? So basically it can be given as a class assignment, or it can be given as a home task also, where we give them just a topic and an agenda, and then we tell them that you have to come and elaborate or kind of share the details of this concept. So it is like the students, when they do the debriefing, then actually they get into more the details of the concept, and then they have a better or a stronger understanding, along with their own active participation and involvement into it. So I think all these different modes of teaching have to be taken up, because very frankly, no one single way of teaching we can consider that it works 100% in every in whatever may be the situation or the concept that has to be delivered, right? When we try to, I mean, out of these six different ways, at least we can involve maybe three to four different ways in our classroom, so as to make it a more lively and an energizing experience for our students as well, and then there is a better takeaway, a better connect with the topic or the agenda. Now, one thing is for sure, that we really really need to understand, or we really need to believe, that each student in our classroom is different, or maybe they have a different way of understanding. I hope all of you will agree to that.
Yes.
Yeah. So now, if each student has a different way of understanding, that means we have to present our concept in different ways. Right? As I said, we cannot just restrict ourselves to lecturing. We cannot restrict ourselves to only practical ways. Simultaneously, every time it cannot be only the students kind of discussing. We have to take up a more of a kind of an integral or an inclusive approach, where we include different ways of teaching, and then try to reach out to the maximum number of students, so that, yes, if somebody understands through a practical way, sorry, I need to have water. Sorry, I have a little bad throat. Okay. So, I would like to share this. In fact, something, very interesting. In fact, it's a practical activity. And I was thinking that, if we could have a little more participation, but that is okay. So, basically, I'll be presenting one next slide to all of us who are present here. And on those slides, there'll be two different ways of presenting a concept, right? One will be on the left hand side and the other will be on the right hand side. And I would really request that the same concept has been, showcased in a different way. So whichever side you could connect better, the left hand side or the right hand side, you just need to tell me which one caught your attention first, right? That's the only thing. So I'll share my slide. Okay, that's the slide. And yes, there's a left hand side to it and then there's a right hand side to it. So whichever, caught your attention first, I need to know. So Ankan sir, which one could you connect first with, the written cat or the image cat?
Written, because I read left to right.
Okay. Okay, so you actually kind of were more focused on the left aspect, that is, yes, so you could connect. Okay, how about Dr. Rohit? रोहित सर, आपको पहले क्या दिखाई दिया, रिटन कैट या इमेज कैट? Yes, Rohit sir, are you there? And if you could hear me as well. No, I don't think so. No worries. Okay. Ankan sir, you said you read from left to right, but then actually there was a difference in the way you got connected with the information. When you saw the word cat written there, it was your left hand side of the brain which was more actively, involved or more actively functional. And when anybody who sees the image first, which happens when I in fact do, these full classroom sessions with those live audience with bigger groups, many will have a different approach and many will say that they saw the image cat first, right? Especially with those who say that their right hand, especially with the ones who have their right hand side of the brain more functional, and it is that the right side of the brain sees images first. Let me elaborate this concept a little more. Where our brain is divided into these two different lobes, the left lobe and the right lobe, right? And specifically the people who have their left hand side of the brain more actively functional, they would connect with the information in form of words, numbers, logics, analysis, right? So it's more of that factual information. While the people who have this right hand side of the brain more actively functional, they would see, colors, pictures, right? They would connect to music, rhythm, right? And then in fact they are the ones who would get information from even nowhere. They are more imaginary people, right? So when I say left, the ones having their left hand side of the brain more actively functional, they are the ones who have this more critical way of processing information, while the ones who have their right hand side of the brain more actively involved, they are the ones who have more creative, approach to kind of seeking information and simultaneously processing information. So the ones who are more creative in their approach will be, the people who are good in their artistic skills, people who are good in their, other forms of extracurricular, whether it is music or it is some sort of, visual arts or something, right? So they are more creative people who have their right hand side of the brain more actively functional, while the people with their left hand side of the brain more actively functional are more critical thinkers, right? So they would in fact go more by reasoning, logics, analysis, evaluation, facts and figures. So I think this is the first difference which we really need to understand, that how individuals differ in their way of receiving information and simultaneously processing information. In fact, based upon this, then there is a very very beautiful, concept which is known as multiple intelligence. In fact, as per psychology, we really believe that every individual is smart, every individual is intelligent. It is only that their way of processing or receiving information is different. Like there can be people who are considered to be nature smart, while some of them will be, number smart, others will be body smart, right? And this concept, majority of us are, kind of unfamiliar with. We really do not know, how strong impact, how strongly it kind of influences somebody's desire or somebody's willingness to learn, right? I mean, the way a self smart person would have an approach to learning, it will be entirely different from a people smart person. Ankan sir, any vague idea, any just, I mean, a wild guess that you would like to make? How would a self smart person love to learn? Yeah, like to learn. What will be their way of learning?
Ma'am, I didn't understand your question, ma'am.
So my question is कि एक सेल्फ स्मार्ट, हमने जो ये 8 डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ मल्टीपल इंटेलिजेंस है, जिसमें हम कुछ लोगों को सेल्फ स्मार्ट कंसिडर करते हैं, राइट? अब एक सेल्फ स्मार्ट इंसान के लिए उनका बेस्ट या मोस्ट अप्रोप्रिएट लर्निंग वे क्या होगा? वो किस तरह से पढ़ाई करना पसंद करेंगे?
Ma'am, what is self-smart?
Okay. Self smart are people, sir, who are self sufficient, self reliant. They in fact, for majority of their needs, they would not depend on to others, even for their social needs also. They are the ones who are mostly loners. We consider them to be loners, but then they are not loners actually. They are the ones who actually exist in their own, solitude, right? And majority of the times they speak less, right? We might consider them to be introvert, but then actually they are not introvert. They are the ones who are like they can be introverts, but then they are not shy. In fact, they like to spend time with themselves, right? And the best way for them to learn and is through observation. They would speak less and they would observe more, right? And when it comes to, studying on their own, then for them the best way to learn is self study. I hope I could make sense for you, Ankan sir.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
understand,
Yeah.
but I'm not
Hmm.
sure that I can express my views in this recorded session. So,
Okay, it's something like that, sir.
yeah,
I I Nini, I don't think so, sir. I mean, because we've been interacting, almost half of the session is done. So
I may differ with
okay,
people a lot.
okay, okay.
So I don't know should I talk on or not.
Okay. Nini, in fact, okay. That's really fine. So maybe let me explain to you or to everybody what are these different types of intelligence. Just broad. In fact, this is a very very vast topic, very frankly. But जैसे मैंने वही self smart explain किया, self smart वो लोग हैं जो ज़्यादा किसी पे dependent नहीं है, right? In fact, अपनी learning के लिए भी, as I said, they primarily learn more through observation, right? They are the ones who would actually ask less of questions, or they are the ones who would actually not believe in much of group discussions also. So when it comes to self smart people, they would look in for their own self time, and they would try to learn through self studying, right? Where in fact, if we put them into a group discussion, they might feel lost, or they might feel yes कि जो उनको आता भी है वो भी भूलने लग गए हैं. वहीं पर एक उनसे बिल्कुल डिफरेंट कैटेगरी है, एक डिफरेंट ग्रुप ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स हैं हु आर पीपल स्मार्ट. नाउ okay, now I'll ask you, Ankan sir, now what do you think? People smart people would love to learn through group discussion mode or through self study mode?
Uh, Actually, ma'am, I think every person possesses both the qualities, self-smart and
Hmm.
people-smart quality.
Yeah,
We cannot
right,
categorize them
right,
broadly that this
right,
is only
right.
self-smart or only people-smart.
True, very true. So very, very true. In fact, this is what you said is absolutely, 100% correct. That we all have these different, smartness, different types of intelligence, and then there are different situations and circumstances according to which we, kind of respond. But then there is something which is more prominent, which is more significant within us. राइट वहीं पर कुछ लोग हैं जो यस मतलब हमारे कुछ स्टूडेंट्स या खुद खुद हम भी कि we always feel more comfortable, what we normally say कि that's my style of studying, where I would be more comfortable in group discussions. I would like to always, get along with my friends, take up a topic, discuss and share, and then definitely after that I start feeling more comfortable. I start believing in whatever, I've learned. I am actually, clear with the concept, right? So people, smart people are definitely those who are more, kind of socializing. They are more, they love to be surrounded by people around. They are more into discussions and conversations, and we must have witnessed such kind of students in our classes also. We must have witnessed those self smart people also, who would not speak much, who would always, try to be silent in a classroom also. And maybe they would not even come up with many questions also, but then when it comes to kind of, performance or uh, kind of understanding a concept, they might be quite familiar with it. Then there are certain people who are considered to be nature smart. Now this is a very special, and in fact a very, very exclusive, in fact, not even exclusive, I would say majority of us love to, learn in that kind of an environment, but wonder why our education system does not support that much. Nature smart is when you're not restricting yourself to closed enclosures, when you're not restricting yourself to, yes, rooms, and locked up rooms, or maybe, yes, where there are doors and windows, but you would love to kind of go outside, be in the fresh air, be in the natural environment, and then you suddenly feel that your mind is much more activated. So such individuals are considered to be nature smart, right? And then they would always love to prefer to, go outdoors and maybe study somewhere in one corner of a park, or maybe sit under a tree, and then they feel that yes, their learning process gets enhanced. Then there is another category of people who are known as music smart. Music smart is, yeah, where there such people do not actually learn from lectures and speeches, but a same concept, if it is kind of, given to them in form of a music, or some a poetry, right, which is more rhythmic, they will be able to connect to that concept much better and much faster. So such individuals are known as music. We might have seen a lot of youngsters when they're studying, right? They have these earphones in their, ears, and then they are like, with their books along. And then as elders, as parents, we doubt them that whether are they actually learning something or not, or they're just listening to music. But the concern is that they are music smart people, right? So when it is some rhythm, some, music flowing in the background, their mind gets activated, their brain gets activated, and then they are able to connect with the concept much better. Then on the same, there are some body smart people. Now body smart people are primarily those fitness freaks, or people who are more into sports or some sort of, physical activity, right? Such individuals, until unless they have not exerted physically, until unless they've not participated in some, physical activity, or being part of some sports, sport or game, they will never feel, kind of inspired to connect with the what do you say, some task, or some, responsibility which wants them to, yes, be kind of restricted to one position only, right? So body smart people would always be more in action, they would need more physical activity, and once after they have performed that physical activity, then only they'll be able to channelize their thoughts or their energy towards, sitting in one position and kind of connecting to a concept, right? So then there are picture smart people. Picture smart people would always, will be better with pictures, with visuals, with photographs and videos, right? In fact, for them, maybe reading through is a challenge, right? When there is too much of content written, it gets very difficult for them, and then that only starts horrifying them. For in that concept, if it is a pictorial, a book with a lot of pictures, or maybe it's an animated, concept being given to them, where there is some video documentary, or where there is some visual, information being shared with them, they'll definitely, their minds get more activated, and they'll be able to learn better and faster. So basically these were the 8 different types of intelligence, and this is how different individuals seek information, and further they process information. uh, what Ankan sir said really really has a lot of significance, that as an individual we might have more than 3 to 4 different types of intelligence, but then what is more prominent, what is more significant as part of our individual personality, our individual approach to learning, is what we need to understand. But now the concern is that in a classroom of nearly, how many students in a classroom? Yes, can we share a range, a number? How many students in a classroom?
10.
Yes, अंकन सर, एक क्लासरूम में ऑन एन एवरेज कितने
10.
स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं?
Yes.
10, sir? You 10. Okay, great. That's in fact, I would say, a convenient number, but sometimes we have those bigger classrooms also, where, like, students with all specializations will be sitting together for a common subject, right? Especially in first year, right? अब उसमें ही, if this is a batch of nearly 40-50 students sitting together, it is very very difficult for any teacher to understand that what is that individual's need of learning, or how do they seek information. In that process, the best way is adding more shape to our classrooms, right? Now, what is that shape? For which, again, I will go back to my presentation and I will share a small story, I think, first of all, with you all. Sorry. I think we can see the slide, and we can see these two butterflies on the slide. Yes. Ankan sir, is my slide visible to all? Visible to you, in fact? Yeah, thank you. Now these two butterflies, and let me share the life journey of these two butterflies, right? I mean, not just these two butterflies, but this specific breed of butterflies, which are known as monarch butterflies. Now, first and foremost, in fact, in layman's language, in common language, we normally call them as tiger butterflies, right? But then actually they are known as the monarch butterflies. That's their original name. In the common language, we've started addressing them as tiger butterflies also. These monarch butterflies are not of Indian origin. They come from America, right? That's their place of origin, and they follow a migratory life cycle, right? So they move from one place to the other, and that is primarily the need for them to survive. Why? Because they come from North America, and North America, that's their place of origin, which actually gets very very hot in summers, temperatures reaching out to nearly 50 degrees, right? Now, for these butterflies, these tender butterflies, they cannot survive under such extreme hot weathers, right? Hot temperatures. So they need to follow a migratory cycle, where these butterflies travel from North America to Central America, Central America to Canada, and then finally, like Canada to South America, and finally North America. So that this whole migratory cycle is for nearly 8 to 10 weeks, right? For them to kind of move from one place to the other place as per the change of the seasons, and then reaching back to their place of origin during the comfortable, when the temperatures are comfortable and easier for them to survive. But now the concern is that this 8 to 10 weeks of life, 8 to 10 weeks of migratory cycle needs to be completed in 4 to 6 weeks of lifespan that they have. What I'm trying to say is, this whole process of migration needs 8 to 10 weeks. लेकिन ये जो बटरफ्लाइज हैं, इनका जो लाइफ स्पैन है, एज इट इज फॉर एनी ऑर्डिनरी monarch butterflies, it is only 4 to 6 weeks. So now the concern is, where a butterfly, as it is, lives for only 4 to 6 weeks, how would it be able to complete a migratory cycle of 8 to 10 weeks, in which this last generation of butterflies, of course, one butterfly travels from North America to Central America, right? One generation, in fact, sorry, one generation of butterflies travels from North America to Central America, then from Central America to Canada, and Canada to South America, and the last, where it is from South America to North America, the last generation of the butterflies what they do is primarily they become a super generation, where this last generation has to complete this cycle from South America to North America without dying in between. If they die off in between during their travel, as it is, the whole migratory cycle will not get completed, and then the whole, the generation of the whole one lot of these butterflies would come to an end, and gradually they would become extinct only. So this last generation, what it does, it actually expands its life cycle, and it becomes a super generation. How does it expand its life cycle? Where primarily the last generation of the butterflies, which have to travel from South to North America, have to go through this process of reproduction. Because any one butterfly which actually, gets into the process of reproduction, and then they have to lay eggs. One single butterfly would lay around 200 to 300 eggs in one time, so which is a very, very energy consuming process. So that's how this last generation of butterfly, without laying eggs, they complete the last cycle of the migration, where they actually enhance their lifespan with the energy saving mode. And then that is how they are known as the super generation. Now that was a little, kind of a description about the lifespan or the life cycle followed by these migratory butterflies. But I would like to understand what all subjects were included while I was sharing this life journey of these monarch butterflies. What all theories or concepts from different subjects were included while I was sharing this life journey or the migratory cycle followed by these butterflies, by these monarch butterflies? Could we think about any concepts of or from different, different subjects, different technical subjects, whether this is, physics, chemistry, biology, right? Of course biology does not come into our, technical subjects, but of course physics, chemistry, mathematics, right? Could we consider some technical, concepts, key concepts, which need to be, yes, included in this whole life cycle of this monarch butterflies that I've just shared? Any one of you? uh yeah. Can't say. Okay. Angan sir, otherwise you come from what subject specialization, if you don't mind?
It's commercial art.
Of course, you're the only.
It is
Pardon sir,
commercial
yes.
art which deals with advertising,
Okay.
print advertising, photography, packaging sort of
Okay.
things.
Okay. So as it is, it's a different field, right? But then definitely, if we go back, I mean, of course, not into our present area of specialization, but at least up till maybe, our class 12th, or maybe during our graduation, whatever technical subjects that we had learned, right? So concepts from physics, chemistry, mathematics, right, were actually included all when I was discussing this life cycle of a monarch butterfly. Right now, the definitely when they have to travel, these butterflies have to travel from one place to other place, then the concepts of, the air pressure, acceleration, their speed, right, the distance travel, the time taken, all need to be worked upon, right? So it is like not a single subject approach, but it is an interdisciplinary approach. And definitely concepts from biology also, understanding the lifespan of this butterfly, right? Now very frankly, yes, all these different concepts from different, specializations of science, mathematics, which were included in this whole, life journey of monarch butterflies that we've discussed. It's a kind of an interdisciplinary approach, which definitely gives us a more, 360-degree preview of a situation, and helps us, correlate or combine the understanding of different sciences, different, technical tools or technical information that we get into the real situation, the real scenario. Ultimately, we have to really understand that whatever we are learning in our classrooms, that has to be applied, That has to be somewhere, yes, be able to we have to be able to kind of correlate or find an evidence or a connect of that information with our real lives. If that is not happening, then definitely we would always feel disconnected, we would always feel kind of disinterested in whatever the information or the technical concepts are being shared. But when we actually are able to find a correlation, a connection with a concept which is being shared or discussed in the classrooms, and we are able to take it to our real lives, then we feel ki, yes, this is the importance, this is the significance of a concept, right? And specifically all these technical subjects, right, are, as it is, difficult to kind of they are more mind boggling also, they are more kind of um, they look in, I mean, these are the subjects where we have to put in more focus and commitment, then only we are able to connect with these subjects. But then somewhere, if we are able to understand the bigger purpose, the bigger objective, or find a connect of all these technical concepts which are learning in our classrooms, right? Motion, acceleration, right? The movement happened, the distance traveled, the air pressure, whatever, how does it work in a real scenario? I think then we would always be more interested, we'll be more willing to connect with that information and knowledge. So basically what we have to kind of create, or how we can inspire or motivate our students the best, is by instilling that willingness. When they feel themselves that yes, I am willing, I am being responsible for my own set of learning, my own takeaway of information, then as it is, I'm the best motivated person around, right? Otherwise it is always that yes, I'm learning, I'm coming to the classroom, I'm taking up my classes because yes, it's part of fulfilling the attendance, it's part of yes, at least being eligible to take up the exams, or maybe just maximum mug up my concepts and go and kind of um, vomit it in the examination hall and then forget about what did I learn. This way there is no real learning happening. Only real learning happens when we are able to take our concepts from classroom to our real life. Then only we can find a connect. So where I said we need to add more shape to our classrooms, now what is that shape to our classrooms? One last concept that I really wanted to share is shape, where shape is an abbreviation, right? In fact, sorry, um, there's a little font has, okay. Huh. Shape is where S stands for stories, H for humor. We had talked about entertainment or edutainment, right? A for activities. Sorry, the font has moved a little bit, right? A for activities, P for presentation, and E for examples, right? Stories, humor, activities, presentations, and examples. That's how we can make our classrooms more of a lively environment, and instill more of that willingness to kind of learn and actually take up our offline sessions and be there practically in the real classrooms and have some real takeaways, right? Story, I kind of shared that real story, that life journey of a monarch butterfly, and then kind of connecting it with the technical concept of the law of motion, the momentum, the acceleration, the air pressure, everything, right? So basic, and then definitely the chemical messengers that travel from one generation to the other, which is a part of chemistry, and they are known as the pheromones, right? So all these concepts are taken up in that. So that was a story form, but a real story, right? A real case study. Then examples also have to be real life examples. Activities, presentation. Now when I say presentation, what presentation am I more concerned about? What presentation can make our classrooms more interesting, more where yes, we can help our students to come out of that boredom and connect better. So what sort of presentation needs to be included in a classroom? Yeah, I think in this, Ankan sir, you can actually help us. What all sort of presentations we can include in our real classroom?
You mean which type of presentation?
Okay, which type
I
also?
mean, simply audiovisual.
G. Okay, okay. Anything more, sir? Okay, when we say visual, sir, in that visual presentation, does the teacher also come into it?
Yes, we do demonstrations.
We do demonstrations. I am being more specific with the presentation of a teacher. How is the teacher presenting himself or herself? Does that matter?
Definitely, ma'am. We first of all, the things we
True.
teach should be
True.
interesting and useful to
Right, sir.
students. So,
True, sir.
to gain interest,
Right, sir.
we do outdoor teachings, outdoor classes, and
Right,
even
sir.
in indoor classes, we uses various examples, visual examples, some
Right,
examples
sir.
which are very interesting, case studies,
Right,
so
sir.
sort of things, ma'am.
Right, wonderful, sir. And then I think definitely when you said that, it is the way the teacher is presenting. So, there, of course, the way you're communicating becomes very, very essential, becomes very, very crucial, right? In fact, now, in fact, that's again a very, very broad concept, which is normally known as classroom communication, which actually goes to both the teacher and the student, right? But then, when definitely as a teacher, what are the few little things that we need to be concerned about when it is a classroom communication? How do we communicate in a classroom? Again, I think it would be only Ankan sir, only Dr. Rohit is also not here with us anymore. He was interacting before, right? Now, when it comes to communication, in fact, right now I was talking about classroom communication, but when it comes to communication, the first thumb rule is that communication is always about your recipient. Whether you're speaking, what really matters is who is the listener, right? How much was the listener interested in listening to you? Did the listener receive the exactly the same message what you wanted to convey, or there was a lack of understanding, or there was a disconnect, right? You were saying something else and the receiver received it in a different way, right? So who is the receiver is one the first prime check, in a communication, right? Next is, even if you're writing something on the board, or you are presenting through some presentation where you have some write up or some visual aids, to be shown, again, is your language actually the right connect with your students? Are they, or is it sometimes they are not even able to understand those terms which you have mentioned there, right? So there has to be a clear concept clarity there. We have to rule out all the doubts, right? And definitely it has to be a two-way communication. For a classroom, in fact, there's one thumb rule which majority of the times we do not follow, and this does not happen. They say in a classroom it is only 15 to 20% which has to be the talking time of the teachers, and the rest, 85 to 80 to 85% time, has to be the talking time of the students, right? But very frankly, we just do the opposite, right? Where it is, yes, because the teacher has to complete the syllabus, teacher has to yes, fulfill the academic requirement that these concepts have been kind of taken up in a certain lesson plan. And yes, that's how we only believe that yes, if I am taking the class, I should be primarily, yes, speaking, and I should be the one who should be explaining or demonstrating. But I do not give an opportunity to my class, to my students, to speak up, to share their opinions, or to clarify their doubts, without which, as it is, no learning can happen, right? So as I said, when it comes to classroom teaching, it is actually the teacher's role, to the teacher's part, to speak up or to converse is only 15 to 20%, and rest 80 to 85% has to be with the students, which can be done in form of group discussions, debriefing sessions, group assignments, right? They can be, yes, some projects and assignments which they can come and share and discuss their opinions, so that yes, there is a clear understanding that yes, whether the students are able to connect with the concept or not, or if there is some lack of information or lack of understanding. And when I say it is majority with the students speaking, narrating, depicting, explaining, do we think that their levels of motivation will be different? When it's majority of the times the students are themselves involved, they're actively involved, they're participating, they are explaining a concept, they are cross questioning, they are clarifying their doubts. So do we think there will be a difference in their level of motivation or inspiration to learn? I think Ankan sir, you only would have to. They would not be, sir? You think that will not make a change? Okay, yeah, I think yes, maybe there was, that's what I was thinking. Yes, definitely that would make a change, right? This we also feel it personally when I can really assure Ankan sir, what I mean, whatever little that you've been, in fact not little, I would say majority, I mean, has been coming from your end only, right? Especially after Dr. Rohit also left us. When you are involved into it, when you are showing that interest, or when you are taking that initiative to express your point of view, then definitely yes, there will be a more deep seated connect with, there'll be a more serious concern with what the discussion is happening right now. And this is what we have to create in our real classrooms also. We have to make them feel that this is their classroom, this is where they can openly express, they can share their point of view. And that's how a classroom gets actually a complete collaboration of different minds at work, and then there is different exchange of thoughts and ideas, and then actually that breaks the complete monotony, and there is much more involvement. Lastly, I just wanted to say, help your students have answers to maximum whys in life. Help your students to have an answer to maximum whys in life. Why they have to come to a classroom, why they have to listen to their teacher, why this concept is important, why they have to put in more effort, why they have to attend their classes, why they have to memorize a concept. When they have this clarity of why, I think everything gets much more simplified, much more sorted out, and then questions like how and what do not kind of haunt us anymore, right? हम अभी भी जैसे this session that is going on, right? अब उसमें भी yes, many of us, in fact as it is we are a less group of people, right? Many of us, we might have just ended up being in this session that okay, maybe this is my academic requirement, my institute has sent me here, and that's why I'm just here. And why am I yes supposed to listen to somebody, why am I supposed to answer back, why am I supposed to kind of respond, or when I myself I'm not convinced about it, I will personally never be motivated or inspired to respond, or kind of really give that time and commitment towards a a session or a task, or a any responsibility that I've been given. The more I know that yes, why this is important for me, then it becomes all the more kind of my personal responsibility, and I personally feel interested or personally feel motivated to fulfill a task, or a a learning objective, or anything which is as it is important for me. So that's all from my end. Anything which was still not clear, we could not connect with the concept, I'm really open to you questions of, I think, Ankan sir. Rest as it is, I'm not getting any responses. So Ankan sir, any concept which was not clear, right from being an instructor, facilitator, inspirer, entertainer, to clarifying those whys for our students? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Ankan sir. So, Aman ma'am, I'm through with the session. Anything, yes, you still want me to address there?
Thank you very much, Manjula ma'am. It was such an elaborative session, and I think Ankan sir also participated a lot
Yes.
during this
Yeah.
particular discussion. So thank you very much, Manjula ma'am, a lot for engaging this
Thank
session.
you. Thank you so much, Aman ma'am, for this opportunity, and thanks to you, Ankan sir. If you hadn't been there, I would have not been inspired to go on talking for 1.5 hours, right? So you were a very strong inspiration for me specifically, and to Dr. Rohit also, if you could convey my regards, and to all those present here, right? Thank you so much for connecting this afternoon, and look up to, yes, being there somewhere together in the near future as well. Thanks
Thank
and
you
all
very
the
much,
best.
Manjula ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.